If we don't speak up and keep the public space open, it will be too late. That's why this week's show is again heavy on the so-called trans rights issue. It's not the only issue in politics, but it is the one which at the moment is burning down our civil rights of freedom of speech and of religion and safety for girls, women and children. All of us who believe that boys are boys and girls are girls are in the fight of our lives to be able to continue to say this without being thrown in jail, literally. Our failure to engage properly the same-sex marriage debate in the lead up to the 2017 plebiscite has brought us to this moment of madness where freedom of speech and religion is under violent attack. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating, you've been living under a rock. In a moment, I'm going to talk to my New Zealand friend Bob McCoskrie about the violent protest in Auckland last week where visiting UK women's rights advocate Kellie-Jay Minshull, or Posy Parker, was violently assaulted and her very life imperilled by a baying mob of men dressed as women. Now, this disturbing turn of events across the Tasman was preceded by and arguably precipitated by the demonisation of Victorian Liberal politician Moira Deeming. I'll come to her in just a moment because there's so much to unpack from this week's events in the Victorian Parliament. I'll also give some analysis on last weekend's New South Wales election, at which I was a Family First-backed candidate for the upper house. But first, Moira Deeming is a smart, courageous woman. In the past 2 weeks, the newly elected Liberal member of the Victorian Upper House has been put through hell by her own party. Her own leader, John Pesutto, unsuccessfully tried to expel her. More on that in a moment. You see, Liberal power brokers despise pro-life, pro-family, pro-girls and women's rights members and want them driven from the party. Here's what one Liberal Party insider, when commenting on Deeming this week, anonymously told NCA Newswire. If you're joining the Liberal Party to implement regressive policies such as repealing abortion or turning back voluntary assisted dying, it's not the party for you. John Pesutto and the leadership team are heading in the right direction. They just need their backbenchers to pull their heads in." End quote. Now, this big talking insider didn't have the courage or the decency to give his or her name. But the message from the bully boys and girls of the Liberal Party is clear. If you believe in human rights for unborn children, that euthanasia is dangerous and it's abuse of the rights of the sick and the vulnerable, and if you support family values, you don't belong in the Liberal Party. If you do manage to slip through the net, pull your head in and shut up. Now, since attending the Let Women Speak rally on the steps of the Victorian Parliament House, Moira Deeming has been unjustly humiliated and defamed by the Liberal Party of Victoria before her colleagues last Monday voted to throw her out of the party room for 9 months. No one can explain what she did to deserve this treatment on trumped-up, fanciful accusations of Nazism. As she scrambled to defend herself, because few Liberals would, the only mistake Moira Deeming made was this concession in her letter to her colleagues ahead of Monday's party room meeting. "I admit, with the benefit of hindsight of what has occurred, that my participation may have been an error of judgment that resulted in unnecessary scrutiny." Now, she had no need to make this concession. Other Liberal senators, Jacinta Price and Claire Chandler, had attended similar events in other states without being hounded by the Liberal Party. What played out in Victoria with the Victorian Liberals was a witch hunt against Deeming. So apart from this concession, her behaviour otherwise has been impeccable. She's been a class act under the most unimaginable pressure and unjust attacks from her own Liberal Party.